Perhaps you could give us an insight into your first Olympic Games, if you can look back on that, and the words of advice that you might offer to Team GB athletes going to Vancouver for their first Games.
Well, going back a long time ago to my first Games was 1984 Los Angeles. 22-year-old, very excited. Hadn't really travelled a great deal before, so first time going to America was a lot of fun. But one of the things that really hits you about the Games, and it's the same with the winter as the summer, is the events are just so huge. Is that with the Summer Games with 28 different sports involved, and you're just one of those. The Winter Olympics is not quite the same scale, but there's lots of distractions because it's the biggest event that is around. Is that there are so many different elements of it. The entertainment halls, for instance, is just sort of huge, especially in the Summer Games, and you can get sucked in, and you've done all this preparation, preparing for your games, ready for your moment, and sort of the issues of being sidetracked in some ways can be a bit of an issue. So you've got to be aware of that. Enjoy the Games because that's what it's all about. It's very, very special to be part of it. But you've got to remember what you're there for. You're there to try and get your best possible result, and that's extremely important.
And I just want to look back, for those who don't know, on your bobsleigh involvement in the late 80s. How did you get into that, Steve?
I stumbled across the sport after the 84 Olympics. I went into the single scull, had a very bad season in 85, nearly gave up the sport, and one of my supporters, a guy called Larry Tracy, took me out for lunch and he said, "Oh, do you fancy pushing me at the two-man British Championships?" I thought, "Oh, that sounds pretty fun," and off we went, and we had a really good week. Sledded with quite a lot of the coaches that were involved in different teams now, of Gomer Lloyd, Tom Delahunty and people like that, and we finished 15th out of 22 sleds. I walked away and I thought, I enjoyed that. And then Larry Tracy set up the Irish bobsleigh team, and I became the push coach for the Irish bobsleigh team. And did that for a number of years. So we got the film Cool Running of them pushing a trolley down a hill and jumping onto it. Well, Larry had a timing gear all set up and a proper sled in his house in Marlow, and we used to push the sled down the drive of his house and practice the timing doing there. So very, very amateurish in some ways. And then from that I did the British Championships again with one of the other guys that was helping on the driving side, and thought, well, I got a silver medal there. That was pretty good. And then moved away from it again. And then Tom Delahunty phoned me up and said, "Oh, would you push me?" So I pushed him in the British Championships, won the British four-man championships that particular year, and then went off and did some of the World Cup races with Mark Tout. And my last race I did was in '89 in Sarajevo, and we finished 11th. And I thought, why am I doing this? This is not working. I'm better at the substance, the same substance, but the more fluid one than the frozen one, in a boat. And so I went back into that. Within 3 weeks of me leaving, the guys that I was sledding with were on the podium at one of the World Cup races. So I admit that it was me standing down and walking away from it. They started getting a lot more success.